Welcome back to another video. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Alexandria, hailing from North Carolina, who also happens to be one of the students in recruiter school, but she has an impressive background. Even before I met her, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to get to know her, introduce her to the community and audience here, and kind of talk about how things are going and what you're excited about in the future. So, Alexandria, thank you so much for making time.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, my pleasure too. So, I guess before we, kind of get started and talk about your experience with the school and everything, can you just give people a little bit of an understanding of your background? So, like, I obviously I shouted out North Carolina, but what did you do in recruitment? How long have you been in the industry? Did you just become a recruiter? Like, what's your story?
Yeah, so I started out in recruitment about 14 or 15 years ago. I think just like every recruiter, you just kind of fall into it. So it was during the Great Recession. Finding a job was super hard, and I saw an ad for a travel recruiter, and I was like, the heck is that? So I went ahead and applied. I learned more about it and started doing it, and really just fell in love with it. Super passionate about it. So started out placing travel nurses and travel therapists. From there, I went to a large RPO company working with a giant hospital system in North Carolina. And then from there, went to retained search with a large job board. And now I'm an internal recruiter. I'm a VP of talent acquisition now with a behavioral health company. And I love it. I've always been in healthcare recruitment, healthcare research, pharmaceuticals, all of that.
What would you say are like the pros and cons, or like a day in the life of an RPO recruiter versus internal, if people are curious?
Yeah, so an RPO recruiter, it's recruitment process outsourcing is what RPO stands for. And so you're basically an embedded recruiter within a company. So you are everything about you is like you're an employee of that company. And so you're handling the sourcing, the screening, you're working one-on-one with the hiring managers. It's like you're an internal recruiter, but it's like a mini agency inside of a business.
And what made you or inspired you to make that switch to internal?
Just networking opportunities, honestly. I love LinkedIn, and as a recruiter, you naturally have to be that networker. So I feel like at this point in my career, I've done everything.
Are you struggling with getting responses from clients? Are you an established recruiter who is struggling to break six figures and beyond? Are you looking to start recruiting part-time and you don't know how? Do you feel burned out and stuck spending hours and hours each day in manual tasks like sourcing and outreaching and feeling like you have no time to actually run and grow your business? I am absolutely happy to announce that we have launched our own recruitment, educational, and coaching program to help you on your journey. We made sure that everything I've learned in the past 10 years, the tips, the strategies that really helped me build multiple seven figures of placements on my own desk with some of the best companies in the world will be included in there. We'll also be including things like how you can build an acquisition system that brings in clients every month to your agency hands-free, how you can maximize the probability of a positive close during negotiations, how you can automate and outsource your day-to-day operations so that you don't have to spend hours per day researching or sourcing, how you can figure out the new and modern way to scale your agency that minimizes risk and maximize your upside potential. And we've also included much, much more. The best thing about this is not only will you be getting amazing content, but we will also handhold you and be with you every step of the way to make sure that you are held accountable and you crush your goals. We'll also share with you our own tech stack, tools, and plugins we actually use, plus everything else we know about automation and AI to help you save time, work smarter, and not be a slave to your business. The exciting news is that we've actually rolled this out to a select few people earlier this year, and I'm excited to see them well on the way to multiple six figures, with some breaking $30,000 to $50,000 per month already. So if you're interested to be a successful recruiter that can dominate in any market conditions, make sure you click on the link below to chat with another member of our team, and we're happy to chat with you to see if we can help you out. Make sure you jump on this really quickly. See you on the other side.
Yeah, one thing led to another, and went into internal recruitment on the pharmaceutical side, working with a CRO, and I love it. I feel like at this point in my career, I've done everything except for my own business. So here I am.
Agency, internal, and now you're starting kind of like your side hustle baby, hoping to kind of grow it. What inspired you to do that? I mean, are you entrepreneurial? Have you started a business before?
Yeah, really entrepreneurial. I think just growing up, being around my parents, my dad especially, he was always, just like, oh, what about this? What about that? So have that entrepreneurial spirit. But I am just really passionate about recruitment. And I think the more you do it, the more that you find that desire and that confidence to just be like, hey, I think I can do this. And after being in so many different types of recruitment, it's like, I can really do this.
Like, might as well just check off all the boxes of
Yeah, let's go for it,
every
right?
single thing you could do out there. So when it comes to like starting your own thing, right, which is a whole like feat in and of itself, was your experience in the agency RPO world more helpful, or your experience in internal more helpful in terms of like the skills you accumulated to leverage into like your own
Oh,
business? Was it
man.
equal, one or the other?
Honestly, I have to say it's pretty equal. So, being on the RPO side, you're like that embedded agency, like how I said earlier. So, it is your job to really understand what your client wants, right? Although you're an embedded recruiter, they're still your client at the end of the day, the hiring managers. So, on the RPO side, I really learned like how to do a really effective intake call. That's so important to learn what your client needs, if they're maybe straying away from like sensibilities, if they're not paying market rate, if they have expectations that are just, ridiculous and blown out of proportion. It's your job to like rein it back in and be that voice to say, okay, hey, I'm the expert here, follow my lead. This is what we're going to do, but I'm listening still to, what's really going to work for your department. And then as an internal recruiter, I think on that side, I really learned how the contracting process worked. So the company that I was with, the CRO company, they let the recruiters kind of decide who we were going to work with. And I really got a chance to read all of the contracts that were coming in. We would redline them and just seeing how the process works, like your different ways that you can infiltrate a company.
So you were
Yeah.
kind of getting a taste of what you're doing now to other
I
companies.
was, I was. And
Mm.
because I'm always getting pitched to, I'm in a position to see like, okay, what was it about this pitch that like resonated with me? What was it about this email that like, gave me that urge to be like, oh, maybe I should contact this person,
Mm.
or respond back. So yeah, it's you kind of take all of this in over the years,
Mhm.
and putting it together, gives you a lot of great knowledge. But I have to say, even with all the exposure that I had, the business development side was still, something that I had never done 100% before. So I learned a lot through recruiter school.
So is it hard to say what helped you ramp up quickly working for yourself? It's hard to say whether it's the agency RPO side or internal, kind of like a tie, maybe?
Yeah, it really
Mm.
is a tie. It really is a tie.
So in your internal job, what is the most number of positions you're responsible for at a given time to try to fill? Is it a lot?
Yeah, so with my current position right now, I'm running the strategy to fill. Typically, we have about 150 positions open at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you manage your time? Do you have any advice for people who are like, oh my God, like, do you not get stressed or overwhelmed every single day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stress, especially when they say, "Hey, we want to open up, 10 more locations next year." And, I have to pull together the strategy for all of that. But I really work one-on-one with my recruiters. We talk about the challenges, we run through strategy. We've started using Loom outreach actually for a lot of the candidates, which has helped quite a bit.
That's amazing. Yeah, you have such an interesting background. You kind of had exposure on the agency side via the
Yeah.
RPO. You're almost, which is like, kind of a startup environment as well, right? Fast
Yeah.
paced. And then you're kind of like running your own team, or you have team members at your current job, which is giving you exposure to management leadership on the internal side. So, I mean, I would have like looked at your background and be like, wow, if you were to kind of make that jump into working for yourself, it'd be smooth sailing. But then you did mention one of the things that was, I guess, brand new to you is that business development side. So
Yeah.
ultimately, what inspired you, or what was the tipping point to push you to kind of pull the trigger on coming into the school? Was it the business development kind of gap?
Yeah, it was the business development gap. And, going back to, I guess, my first interaction with you over the phone, I've been watching your channel for a while and just really inspired by your story, how you were in recruitment and you said, hey, I'm going to do this on my own. So it was Sunday, I was cleaning the house and it's like, let me just get in touch with Preston and
Mm.
chat with him about the splits community and and all of that. And so we started up a conversation. You told me what you were doing with recruiter school, and I really started to think about it. I truly am missing that business development piece. And, with anything in life, there's a learning curve. And I wanted to cut down that learning curve as much as possible because in that learning curve, there's, money that's spent that maybe you didn't have to spend. Going into recruiter school, you help to kind of cut down on some things that I was thinking of doing. And turns out, hey, I don't have to do that. Just get to work.
I appreciate that. Do you feel like there's anything you learned on the candidate side because you have such a strong candidate experience? What?
Yeah, yeah. So on the candidate side, yes, I've learned, different outreach. So the video looms, I have to say that's probably like the biggest thing that I've learned. Just different ways to interact and tell the candidate more about what you're doing. And I think even with approaching candidates, like having your own business, it's maybe a little bit different from like placing them with the company that you're working for, right? You have to gain that trust from them. You have to really show them that, hey, I'm going to take care of you and, we're going to make this happen together.
They don't know you at all in the beginning. So you
Yes.
have to deliver while same time building that trust while hoping that this becomes a long-term thing and it becomes
Yes,
an amazing relationship.
absolutely.
So a lot of the questions I get, Alexandria, are can you start your own business on the side if you have a full-time job? And you are literally living proof of someone who's doing that. And so what are you doing to make it sustainable for you to still excel at your current job, start this while having hopefully a life outside of all of that,
Yeah.
right? So like
Yeah.
what's your advice? Like how are you making it work?
Structure your day. Structure your day. Outside of work, I have two daughters. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I have lots of things going on. Keeping your day structured is going to be the most important thing. And also just having that drive, right? There are times where I am like, I'm tired, but I'm like, if I don't do my output, I'm not going to have that my goals reached at the end of the day. So you have to keep going. You have to really have that fire inside of you. And when times get tough, you have to keep your head, positive. You really do, because you're going to hear no a lot. And that's okay. That's fine. It really is a lot about timing. So in the morning, that's when I'm doing a lot of my outreach. I'm doing my emails. I'm sending my messages on LinkedIn. I am cold calling into businesses, trying to catch people before their day gets started too heavy. And then after that, I'm into my day job. I'm doing my morning stand-up meetings with my team. I'm, helping them with any challenges that they have. I'm running strategy. I'm working with the CEO and the CPO and all of that on, everything that we're doing. And then I'll maybe try to find a little bit of time, at lunchtime to kind of go back and check on some things with my business. And then at the end of the day, again, I'm on it again, trying to make it work. And in the evening time, that's when I'm setting up again for the next morning. I'm setting up, doing my research on the companies that I want to reach out to. I'm putting together the strategy and then running it from there. So I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm tired, but I know that it's a matter of passion and output.
And you got to keep in mind that a lot of this is temporary. It's not a permanent thing. You're not going
Yeah.
to do this for the rest of your life, right? And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I think if you're looking to kind of start your own business and you have a full-time job, you can do it one or two ways. Number one, go cold turkey, quit your job and go all in, which is very stressful. That's like the maximum stressful route, but also the maximum return because you can literally just go all in. But if you were to do the smart way, which is what you're doing, is like, hey, like, dude, I'm going to start something on the side, dip my toes in, work hard, try to make some placements, reinvest that cash, and then, one step in front of the other. But that's, in a sense, a more challenging because now you have a full-time job. You have to carve out more time to dedicate to your side hustle. And then it just requires more discipline, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of people are already tired after their day job. And so the fact that you have to like push yourself to do a couple more hours, to be consistent, to align with your passion. I mean, you're just making it happen. You don't make any excuses. And so people, when I hear people saying, I don't have the time or I can't do this, I'm like, I'm going to call you out. You do have the time. What are
Yeah.
you putting that time into though? Like video games, going out to the bar every night, like watching movies. Like you could basically allocate that same time into something that can propel your life and career forward. You
Yes.
have to make that decision, right? 5 o'clock to 9, 5 o'clock to 9. Most people have open. And so it's up to you on how do you want to use that time. And you're just making it happen despite everything else going on in your life,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it right. It's a lot of discipline. There are times when I'm like, oh, I could just scroll on my phone. But no, that's not time that's going to be, well spent. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's incredible. People are like, what's the secret sauce? I'm like, guys, I mean, I can teach you like tactical stuff,
Yeah,
but then you have to do two things. You have to like action, you have to execute, but then most importantly, you have to be consistent and you have to be disciplined. And people
absolutely.
always underestimate like how hard it is to be disciplined. I can't teach that to you. I can't literally sit next to you every day saying, Alexandria, you gotta work. Stop looking at those TikTok videos, And it's really up to you to kind of make it happen. And I can give you all the support system. I can give you all the guidance I can, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to kind of make it. And yeah, the fact that you're juggling all this stuff is truly incredible and huge hats off because like that's the secret sauce. If you can be consistent, you can find success in anything. I 1,000% believe that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it took me, a couple weeks to figure out what is my groove, what's going to work for me. And I think I got it down now.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. So, business development was like your biggest thing. What's maybe one of the coolest takeaways that you learned in the school that you had just no idea about when it comes to the client acquisition side?
Oh man, it's what I underestimated was the amount of follow-up. You really have to stick with it. And client acquisition, a lot of it is timing, right? Like you have to be in front of them at the right time. So that means that you have to keep being the squeaky wheel, right? It's not enough to do like two outreaches or whatever, and that's the difference between candidate recruitment and client acquisition, I feel, is that to me, I mean, I suppose this doesn't apply to everyone, it's a little bit more challenging. You really have to stay in front of them. So that's the biggest takeaway. Also, 2024, it's a different world out here now, right? It's rough. So just I think for me, underestimating how rough it is out there. It's really crazy.
It's all about planting the seeds though. Like timing is
Yeah.
everything because like I can reach out to someone be like we're not hiring and then 2 weeks later like you see them post on LinkedIn and we're hiring, right? And it's like you got to like pounce on those opportunities too,
Yes.
right? But again, I love the squeaky wheel analogy. You just got to be top of mind. You got to basically be on top of the mountain with a bullhorn just like, "Hey, I'm Alexandria," right? And just
Yeah.
be consistent. Be consistent so like when they do wake up one day like, "Oh, I need to hire," they think of you,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
Because there are lots of companies out there that do what we do, right? And just like you said, you have to stay in front of them. You want them
Mhm.
to be thinking of you when times get challenging for them. You
Mhm.
want them to remember your value proposition. You want them to remember the MPC that you sent over. You want them to really think of you and to go
Absolutely.
to that email, to that message, to your
Mhm.
website, whatever it is.
For sure. The QR code.
Yes, yeah.
Is there another thing about the recruiter school that kind of stands out to you that you like as well? Just it can be
I
anything.
I honestly I love the way that you broke it down into modules and into sections. It's really easy to follow. There are some people in the recruiter school who have never recruited before. And it really is such a great platform to, if you're going from zero, like never done recruitment before, it's set up in a way that you can learn, you can follow. I love how we have our meetings every week and you leave it open where people can ask questions or talk about their challenges, and that's so valuable to hear those stories. But yeah, the modules that you have, just it really breaks down everything. And looking at like some of my team, some of them had never been recruiters before, and you really broke it down the same way that I did for them. I'm like, okay, this is how you're going to start here, this is how you're going to do this next. And so it was an approach that like it got my stamp of approval.
There's one thing I wanted in my life is Alexandria's stamp of approval, and I got it, guys. I got it. No, thank you, thank you. It really, really means a lot. And so, what's your goal in the future? I know that like you obviously you're working on accounts with like really big clients, which is exciting.
Yeah.
But what's another goal that you want to have to finish off this year or in the short term?
Yeah,
What's on the docket for this Miss
geez,
Alexandria Lady Boss here?
yeah. I have this like personal goal, which, I'm looking at it now and maybe it's not a high enough goal, but
Oh,
yeah.
shoot big,
The
shoot
stretch
big.
goals. Yeah. I want it to be at a point where I was making at least 3 placements per month because I felt like, revenue wise, that's
Damn.
like, that's a good place to be.
That's a fantastic
And
place,
that
especially in healthcare.
yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of reasons why I'm doing this. Shared with you a little bit earlier that my mom has been sick for 30 years and just knowing like all the resources and everything that go into care. I want to be able to provide that for her and for my mother-in-law. Like you get to this point in life where like, oh man, everyone's getting older and things
Mm.
change. You're kind of the child that's taking care of everyone else. So yeah, just being in a position where I can help with that. And with my mom, we've been in a position where like you don't get great medical care or you don't have, someone who has the best bedside manner. And so I want to change that. And that's really one of the biggest goals that I have with my company is to, be just as passionate about patient care as the healthcare organizations are, and to help connect them with good people that are going to change lives, whether it be through patient care or technology, whatever it is. That's super important to me. But yeah, I love recruiting. I love the feeling of owning my own business and that pride that comes with it. And I ultimately would love to have a whole recruitment team just, built out where we're making tons of placements every month.
It's not all about the money, guys. And like as you heard from Alexandria, have a really strong reason or a why you're kind of working so hard. That ultimately will get you up in the morning. Sorry, get you off that TikTok on the phone to kind of get back at it and to stay focused. I mean, yes, like the finances and the money is great, but you got to have a bigger reason. And I think that really kind of explains to me why you're just so capable of taking so much on your plate, but still doing well in everything that you're doing in all facets of your life. And it really is just I just understand you a lot more now. And I really appreciate you sharing this. And I'm like, wow. And it's always a treat to see you as part of the group calls and you always participate. And I think one of the reasons why you're seeing results is you participate, right? Like we help people
Yeah.
that want to be helped. And it's always a pleasure to see. And you always have such a great demeanor and energy and smile and
Oh,
communication. And so I'm just so happy for like your immediate short-term wins, but I would love to see you to continue to crush it. And if that's your goal to create a team to, to go above and beyond and make a huge dent in patient care, healthcare, I would love nothing more than for that to happen.
thank you. Thank you.
Well, a couple last quick fire questions. What is like a one favorite tool that you like? It can be either candidate side or client side.
Ooh, favorite tool. Do you mean technology wise or just anything? You want me to choose whatever it is?
No, it's got to be recruiting related, recruitment related. So
Recruitment
like so
related.
like for your business or just
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
helps on the candidates or client side.
Yeah, so I'll give you two answers here. 'Cause
Oh,
One,
okay.
one is technology based, one is not. So
Gotcha.
number one, I'm gonna say is the MPC tool.
Mm.
That is super powerful. And when you're in a sea of companies, right, that are vying for the business of different companies, then you need to stand out. And that's one of the ways that you can stand out a little bit more. It's something that I had underestimated.
Yeah.
And that's even, someone like I said earlier who is getting pitched to constantly. A lot of recruiters leave that piece out, and doing it from a value proposition point of view, that's completely fine. But the emails that have the MPCs attached to it, those are the ones that my hiring managers come to me and they're like, "Oh, look at this! Look what I just got. Can we reach out to this company and learn a little bit more about them?" So I'm seeing in real time, like those are the ones that get the traction.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that get sent to, HR, or the hiring manager will call directly. So that's my number one tool. Number two, from a technology standpoint, I'm gonna say Apollo and Instantly. Those have been really, really great from a research point of view. with Apollo and Outreach with Instantly as well. It makes
Wow.
things very easy.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. Like the first point, very, very like it's such a you it almost seems common sense. It's kind of is common sense, right? Like if someone really wanted like a candy bar, you want to like you don't want to just approach them saying, "Hey, I can help you," or versus
Yeah.
someone who's like, "Hey, here's a candy bar that you want," right? And then like who do you think that kid's gonna go for? It's kind of common sense, but
Yes.
like it's something that people don't really think about. And in a market right now that's even more competitive, you have to just bring the edge and bring that value as much as possible.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And so
absolutely.
for someone who's doing it, but who also gets it from other recruiters, I think that's well said. And you're in such a unique position where like you can kind of see what other recruiters are doing, right? So you're getting like data in real time. You don't even have to do anything. And so it's like fantastic, just like, things that you can use to leverage and improve your own outreach for your own business.
Yeah.
So, any last words for someone who doesn't have any recruitment experience, who's like, you know what, maybe I want to be a recruiter, whether it's for myself or starting a job? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say just do it. Recruitment has done so much for me. I used to be like such a shy person, and oh my gosh, yeah,
Never have
painfully.
guessed.
Yeah. But, being forced to be on the phone all the time and literally like if you don't make placements, you don't eat. You're not making money. So it like forces you to kind of find yourself almost, right? Like honestly, just do it. If you're interested in recruitment, just do it. Give it a try. If you are interested in starting your own business, get out of your own way and just do it. A lot of us have a tendency to overthink things. I am one of them. And you just got to get out of your own way and just do it. Just take that first step.
You really do learn a lot. I think whether it's in like a sales role or a recruitment role, you're just going to find your groove, but you're going to develop so many other skills that are so
Yeah,
important in life, right? Learning how to deal with failure, communicating, confidence, internal, external, being able to show up
absolutely.
every day. Like all of this is literally helpful in every part of your life, right? And
Absolutely.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you're like, hey, I was super shy, I would never have guessed. I would have been like, I'm like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can't believe it now. They're like, what?
Yeah. So like now when I meet people and some people like are so uncomfortable like using the phone to call, I'm like, I don't even think about it 'cause I'm like calling people every day.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't even register at all. Like I just do it, right?
Yeah.
But for a lot of people are are very uncomfortable communicating with people, doing meetings, doing phone calls, and yeah, recruitment you learn very quickly. Like you have to be okay with that, or you'll just end up sinking very quickly,
Yes, yes. You learn
right?
speed, you have to move fast and you learn how to read people, which is
Mhm.
so valuable in life.
Absolutely. Well, Alexandria, I could talk to you for the whole day and hours and hours and hours, but we know we don't have that time, and I would hate to pull you away from your business and all the great things that you're doing. But honestly, thank you so much for sharing. And I think you're very inspirational. And I think like you just have this amazing drive and this no excuse attitude, and you're just making it happen. And honestly, it's really that. That's the secret sauce, guys. Just like internal confidence. You just make everything happen. You do action and more action than thinking, and just don't make any excuses, right? And if you
Absolutely.
can do that, it's not if, it's when results will happen inevitably. So
Absolutely. It's a numbers game. Just stay positive.
just stay positive. But I'm so proud of you. Keep it
Thank
up.
you.
And I'm going to continue to root for you into the future. And yeah, can't wait to see what other great things you're going to be doing, Alexandria.
Thank you so much, Preston.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. We'll keep in touch, okay?
All right. Thank you.